Hey there everyone and welcome to React Native Design course. This movie is pretty lightweight because I can understand the previous one was pretty intense. So what we're going to do is explore how the file structure and directories are there in React Native. And when you create your project using Expo, it's a little bit different as compared to what your file structure is going to be looking like when you create an app using React Native command line interface provided by the React Native guys at Facebook. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be worrying much about how the things are going to be there using the command line interface. Rather, I will be just exploding the things which is available here. So I've just fired up my Atom and I'm going to drag and drop this test folder here so that I can explain you directory structures. Now the first one is like Expo. You don't need to worry much about that. It's a hidden file .expo, so don't worry about that. Then comes the assets. Now here is the default assets of the Expo and we won't be touching them. But of course, if you want to change your splash and all these things later on, we can obviously do that. We might be doing that later on. Right now, we don't need to worry much about that. Okay, so assets is nothing and node modules. This is important one. All the node dependencies that we'll be installing are going to go here. And it can be a tricky situation sometimes when we will be going into native base or elements or using third-party libraries like that. I will tell you a couple of tricks that you really need to know about this node module because it doesn't look like that innocent. If you have worked on a previous node or like React, you might be thinking it's just their node modules and that's it. No, it's a little bit tricky than that. In here, I'll walk you through that later on. Now we have a couple of dot files which are always hidden and they just need to be there, like Watchman and gitignore and Babel is there. We won't be touching them either. Our main point and main agenda is going to be app.js. This is our single entry point for our React Native app. Now, if you will generate the app using the React Native command line interface mentioned in the documentation, it will give you two entry points, one for the Android and one for the iOS. So if you want to do a customization look for Android and iOS, you can go ahead with that. But I have found out over the times working with React Native that people don't do that. People just put an entry point in Android file, in iOS file, and just link them up to something like app.js or index.js so that everything just looks smooth. And if possible, just try to download the Amazon Prime app, which is, or maybe a messenger app. The companies really want to do is provide a seamless experience for both Android and iOS users so that when they switch on to the app, their apps look seamlessly good in both platforms. So I have found out over the time that people just use single entry points. So that's what Expo has came up with. And this is where we'll be writing most of our, almost all of our code. Then the next important file is package.json. We won't be touching that directly because we'll be installing the things from command line or command prompt, whatever we call that terminal. And we'll be doing all these things directly from here. Okay, so pretty simple. I know this is pretty easy and all the things. If you want to just change out the stuff and want to just play around and you just want to fill up that customary hello world, you can just simply say hello world here and that's it. You have done your hello world here. So not a much detailish thing here, pretty easy, pretty common things, and things gonna get started in the next up videos. In the next video, I'll walk you through that what are the plugins that you need to have in the Atom, as well as we'll provide you and we'll show you how you can add up some of the custom snippets so that all these codes can be automatically written for you and you don't have to worry much about that. We'll be speeding up the process from now onwards. So that's it, pretty quick and lightweight movie, and I'll surely catch you up in the next one.